Coming up on this edition of Carolina Insider, see why two former Carolina football players are now writing children's books.
Our book specifically is about identity.
With new district maps across the state, see what areas are affected. But first, we take a look into the university's controversial reaccreditation. Carolina Insider starts now. Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Mac Hardy. Our top story today: the USC presidential search continues despite the top candidate withdrawing. The university announced this week that Mung Chiang will no longer be considered for the position. Chiang has a doctorate in engineering and is currently the executive vice president for strategic initiatives at Purdue University. Reportedly, members of the search committee and board of trustees had him pegged as the #1 prospect. The board met earlier this week to discuss options going forward, but we haven't heard details of that discussion yet. The university received some good news this week that will impact the academic community for the next 10 years. Here with that story in today's Cocky Spotlight is Kyle Orens. Kyle?
That's right, Mac. USC got word this week that the university has been reaccredited for the next 10 years. The university's Office of Institutional Effectiveness should get the official letter mid-January. The Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, or SACS for short, examines schools like USC to ensure that the institution is meeting the standards and requirements for how it's run and how students learn. The University of South Carolina Columbia is accredited by SACS to award associate, baccalaureate, master's, and doctoral degrees. SACS is recognized as the regional accrediting body in the 11 southern U.S. states. This year, USC's was a somewhat controversial case. SACS was called in to determine whether undue influence played a part in the hiring of former USC President Bob Caslen. Any school in South Carolina that loses their accreditation will stop receiving federal and state funding and cannot issue diplomas the following year. So, this stamp of approval is a big win for the university.
Thank you, Kyle. The parents of a Clemson student who died during a fraternity run are doubling the reward for information in the case. Tucker Hips died in 2014 during a fall from a bridge while running with his Sigma Phi Epsilon brothers. Now, on the 7th anniversary of his death, Hips' parents have raised the reward to $100,000. The South Carolina State Senate voted in favor of a new map that will change who represents some residents in the Midlands. The new map is based on changes in population from the 2020 census. Among other things, it would send Senator Dick Harpootlian's current district to Charleston. The plan is now on Governor McMaster's desk. A pending school board vote could determine if employees of Richland 1 School District will be seeing a bonus this holiday season. According to the state newspaper, full-time employees would receive $1,000 as a one-time retention payment, while part-time employees could earn $500. The school board hopes these bonuses will help recruit and retain employees. Two former Gamecock football stars have taken their talent off the field and in a new direction. Our reporter, Makayla Evans, has that story.
Williams-Brice Stadium is a place where young athletes dream of going pro. This dream came true for Langston Moore, a former USC football star and now retired NFL player for the Cincinnati Bengals, while Preston Thorne, another USC football standout, took his talent to the classroom and became a history teacher. These two Gamecocks are once again playing for the same team, but this time as co-authors of a children's book called #JustAChicken.
Our book specifically is about identity. Our mascot thinks that he's one thing, and he really comes to find out that he's another. And he thinks that he's just a chicken, but he finds out that he's really, truly a Gamecock.
They pull their inspiration from phrases they've heard and lessons they've learned throughout their careers. Shortly following #JustAChicken was their second book, #JustAChickenLittle. They took these two stories and began their Go Pro in Books campaign, a community outreach project where they have visited over 200 schools, giving presentations about the value of books and reading.
We always tell them they should go pro in books and reading, because that's going to be the thing that takes them really far in life.
This book isn't only a positive impact on young chickens in the coop, but one current Gamecock.
DeCarrion Joyner is the first Gamecock football player to be signed by alumni under the new NCAA NIL rules. He says this opportunity has allowed him to stress the importance of reading and education.
Growing up, my mother and my family always taught me education is everything. Just being able to read, being able to speak properly.
Preston and Langston are currently working on their third book, #UseToWasARooster, coming out soon. For Carolina Insider, I'm Makayla Evans.
That's it for this edition of Carolina Insider, a student production here in the Kennedy Greenhouse studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here later today.